Well, hello everybody, Rick here. We're down at the deer camp, Beech Grove, Kentucky. I'm going to be pulling the camper back today. But before I do, I want to give you a tour of the 100 acres of woods, the property we hunt here. Give you an idea of some of the locations we talk about in our hunting videos: top of the hill, the chapel, the ladder stand, the pasture, McGee Chapel Church, things of that nature. So let me go on and start up the four-wheeler, and we'll get ready here. We're going to start off here at the cabin itself. Cabin is a trailer, and we're inside the woodshed now. This is where we do a lot of our setting at the fire, out of the weather, out of the wind, sitting by the fire, doing a lot of our campfire talks and all that. Straight across is the building where we do our hanging and skinning, and from here we're going to head up the hill. Not very far from the camper, over here on the left is where I used to set up my blind first couple years, and this is where my daughter Kelsey has shot 3 of her 5 deer that she's taken in her lifetime. She shot a buck up here and 2 does. One of the does she shot down here, down in the curve here. It was coming up from the right, and went down there, was eating some persimmons. So it's not too far from the camper. We'd literally walk out in the morning, 10-15 minutes would be inside our blind. This area here is the first of 2 hoke sits on the property. Hoke sit, a German word for high stand. We also call them the executive stands. Really nice stands, all insulated on the inside, carpet, nice padded chairs and all that. A very comfortable place to hunt out of. This point here, we're going to make a left and go on up the hill. If we were to go to the right, that would take us to the pasture, the garden area, and follow it all around to the back side of the lake. Okay, here we're at the top of the hill, and this is the McGee Chapel Church Lodge. This was the roof of a church that was down on McGee Chapel Road, and a prior owner had the roof brought to this point, and it was an old metal roof with rough sawn lumber on the side, and pretty much gutted, and JR went on and had it renovated. And if you were to go on the inside, the cabin itself would look equivalent to something you would see down in Gatlinburg, down at some of the mountaintop lodges they have down there. Done a beautiful job with it. It's got a nice sitting area with a fireplace, a loft, with a master bedroom up top, a full kitchen, full bath, the back porch with grills and all that set up on it. So from here, you're able to see all the way down to the bottom of the hill. That takes you out to the pasture. And straight ahead, we're going to see a trail that takes you down to the bottom hill, the far east, southeast side of the property. And a lot of deer down there, a lot of deer sign, but it's pretty steep, and I haven't really hunted it. I could walk it, I could walk up that hill, but I could never drag a deer up there, and I'm getting too old to risk taking a four-wheeler and dragging a deer up these hills and stuff. If I was about 20, 30 years younger, I'd probably do it with no hesitation, but this is, in itself, is a good place to hunt. You could just sit right here on the porch, and deer come up here in all these oaks, and they tear this place apart. So we're going to go from here. We're going to take a trail to the left, and we're going to head over to the pallet ground blind. This is where I hunt out of now. There's that trail down to the southeast part of the property I was telling you about. I use the church as the point of north, south, east, and west. So anything north of the church, south of the church, east of the church, and west of the church. It's my land marker. This oak right here, this is where this trail here to the right goes down the bottom of the hill. When I talk about the bottom of the hill, that's where I'm talking about. And deer have a tendency to come from the bottom of the hill up this trail, and I could see them if they're walking in the woods, but when they're on the trail itself, it's kind of hard to see them. They'll sometimes get behind me. This trail here takes you down to the bottom of the hill, back down toward the camper. There's a trail that goes down that way. I don't take this trail up and down the hill either. I took the one I took is a lot more gradual, and I like using it. And then of course the pallet ground blind is right here in front of us. Used to have a tent, or not a tent, but a ground blind here, and I built this pallet ground blind in the exact same spot. I've killed 2 bucks out of here, a couple does. Will's killed a couple does. Kelsey hasn't killed anything out of here. She hasn't really hunted out of here. She decided to hunt down by the ladder stands this past season, because that's where we were seeing most of the big bucks on trail cams, and that's what she's after. She's after one of the bigger bucks. But this is a familiar spot. As y'all look out here, there's toward the north the treetops, toward the east down at the bottom of the hill, and toward the west down the bottom of the hill that direction. So I'm going to back this thing around and we'll head down to the pasture. You can actually drive a pickup truck all the way up to the cabin here. I would recommend having four-wheel drive, because it does get pretty muddy sometimes going up here. It's wet, it's a pretty good climb. Here's the pasture. Seen several deer out here grazing. I'm going to go around this side here. Where I stopped earlier and I told you if you took the trail to the right, this is that trail coming up from the bottom of the hill. We took the one to the left and went to the top of the hill. Now this one takes us kind of to the middle here in the pasture south of the chapel. I'm going to run back up top of the hill because I wanted to show you a point on the chapel. Okay, if you'll notice on the church here itself, on the lodge itself, at the very top you'll see that wooden steeple. That's from the original church. I'm going to have to text JR and find out exactly when or approximately, but I believe this church was built in the early 1900s, although I can't find an exact date when it was built. but I'm sure he knows the history of it and all that. You can also go down this trail here and make a left off of it, and it'll take you straight down to the lake where he has his house down there. It'll be on the north side of the lake. This is his garden shed, and his garden, he keeps it in a high fence to keep the deer out of it. Does a pretty good job of growing vegetables in there. And JR is a giving man. He doesn't sell them at the market or anything. He gives a lot of his vegetables away to family and friends, people in need. Here's the second of the two hook sets. Another real nice stand. A lot of times what we'll do is we drop our carcasses off out here on the edge of the woods, and people will come up here and actually coyote hunt and all that. Something I haven't done, but it's something I want to do. It's helped knock down the coyote population up here. This is the trail that goes on the south side of the property. You might be able to see some of the lake through the trees here. You'll notice a deer stand there. We probably passed 4 or 5 deer stands already. I didn't point them all out, but a lot of these stands have been standing up here since the 80s. Not very safe to hunt out of. A couple of them are, but most of them require a little bit of work before you want to climb up them. See another ladder stand there. Back in the days we made them out of wood. No sidings on them or anything like that. You just sat out there in the cold. This trail here will take you down to my fishing spot. This lake's water source is several underground springs from this hill, which therefore I think that in itself categorizes that as a lake and not a pond, because it's getting its source from water being brought into it. This here is one of my favorite fishing spots. Of course, there's fish to be caught all around it, but I kind of like this spot here. I tend to come to it first. It's got a little bit of gravel down there, and the bluegill and the red ear, they like to bed in them rocks. And when you hit them just right, you'll get some pretty good sized bluegill. This is a cabin in a sense. I mean, when you go inside, you're looking at an open floor plan on the bottom, kitchen, living room, nice fireplace, a view of the lake. And then when you go up into the loft area, that's where you'll find your bedrooms and all that at. It's got a nice fire pit on the outside, a fireplace, and gas grill and all that underneath the roof there. The back porch is all covered. State-of-the-art chicken coop. I mean, them chickens have got it made. So I'm not going to drive all the way up to the house. I'm going to turn around here and I'll get back with you. Okay, we're back up at the entrance to the South Trail. This is another one of my favorite spots to fish, is right here along this dam. And I don't know if you could see it in the water there, but it kind of goes out a little bit, and then there's a pretty good drop, and them fish like hanging off of that ledge there. This is one of the trails where we see a lot of the big bucks on. passed it up, but there's a trail back there that'll take you out into the pasture, and this is his brother's farm over here. This is where I hunted in 1984 when we first started the deer camp. His brother had some hay bales setting up about halfway up that hill, and them deer would come from this property over to his property, and that's where we'd shoot them. And I always wished we could hunt on this property, but it was owned by different people back then, and there was strictly no hunting at all on it. But they would set up deer stands all along the edge of these other property. Back up there on that pasture and down on the southeast side, as I was showing that to you, all that property borders Dreamweaver Farms, which is a pay-to-hunt property, and they manage their deer herds down there, and they got feeders out and all that, and they get some pretty good deer out of there. I never could find it on a website or anywhere, but it's called Dreamweaver's Farms, and I'm told that the hunts can be anywhere from $900 to $1,500 for a 3-day hunt, depending on what season. This trail here takes you to the ladder stand. Oh. A lot of deer use this trail coming up through here up to the top of the hill, and it actually just goes up, and if you follow this trail all the way up, it'll go to that hope sets. That's that first hope set I was showing you there in that small pasture area. Here's the ladder stand that we'll hunt out of. That one's pretty secure, and new seat and padding. One of Will's 2 blinds is up here on top of a little knoll, and his second one is from that blind about halfway over to the main road, which is behind the building. There's a lot of deer that travel up through that way. They seem to travel from that farm all the way up through this valley here, like to that hoke set, and from that hoke set straight up the hill to where I'm at. That seems to be the major travel area of the deer on this property, although they're everywhere. I mean, you're apt to see deer anywhere and everywhere. As I was coming down that left side, I remember one year I came down here when there was snow on the ground, and I was amazed at how many beds I found where deer had been laying in that snow and had their beds in a place that I would have never guessed that's where they bedded at. But it was on the west side of a hill, and I guess they were enjoying the sun earlier, and that's where they sat at. So from here we'll go back up to the top of the hill, and you'll see where we come out at. video and be hard to see, but that's where Will's second blind is at. And then when you look over here, you'll see the back side of the metal building where we do our skinning and all that. And them deer just walk right up this valley and go down to that corner and then up the hill. This takes you back to where we started. You know, I like it this time of the year. I know fall is probably one of my most favorite time of the year because of the weather and all that. But there's something to be said about going through woods and a forested area with no leaves and no brush on the ground and stuff like that, because you get the true feeling of the land and the beauty of it and all that. And to me, it's just as pretty with no leaves as it is with the foliage and all that. You don't get the same big picture. So that's it. That's Deer Camp, Beech Grove, Kentucky. Top of the hill, pallet ground blind, McGee Chapel Church, the pasture, the garden, the 2 hoax sets, the back of the pond, the lake itself, the south trail, the ladder stand, and Will's 2 blinds. That's our hunting spot. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and subscribe, help the channel out, and give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Y'all take care.